Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin video. Today we're going to be focusing heavily on the short-term price action. As this move has progressed to the upside, people have been getting a little bit more skeptical about whether to buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin because they're seeing the short term as slightly overvalued. Now, this is not incorrect. The problem with it is it's not that simple. So today we're going to be looking at exact short-term price targets to the upside and to the downside. If we break below critical levels, what happens? If we break above critical levels, what happens exactly? So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into the video. I want to encourage everyone to go and check out the VIP group. We've got the group page here, which is the information page showing you how to make a payment. We've also got a result document where you can check out the results of the VIP group for Q4 if you're interested in that kind of thing. But other than that, we're going to get straight into the analysis. We're going to look at Bitcoin on a daily chart first and foremost. Bitcoin, of course, I don't even need to say this at this point, has moved up extensively in the past couple of weeks. We've seen, all of our kind of moving averages are trailing quite far below us at this point. We've got the 50 SMA, we've got the 200 SMA, bull market support band, 21 EMA, which is generally right on top of the price action. They're all quite far away, and so this does lead us to believe that Bitcoin is quite overextended. We've held this opinion for a couple of weeks now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin needs to correct immediately. And the reason why it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin needs to correct, even though Bitcoin is overextended, is because macro momentum could be significant enough to drag Bitcoin further upwards regardless of the short-term TA. So this is something we've been battling with for a while because it's like, well, short-term TA says one thing, macro says another thing, right? Macro, the bottom is in. I'm of the opinion the bottom is in. We've bounced off 8-year support. We did that in a time in which we were meant to do it as per the 4-year cycle. Right now, what we need to be looking at on kind of like the most important thing we need to be looking at really is actually this descending wedge formation on the logarithmic scale on the weekly chart, okay? Because right now, this is what Bitcoin's doing, okay? It wants to correct. Okay, it's very important. It wants to correct. And the reason it wants to correct is this, right? We've moved extensively to the upside, okay? Volume on this move, if we bring up the volume indicator, which I'll bring up right now in just a second here, we'll bring that up, volume. We can see volume is tapering out on this move, right? In recent days, the volume is rounding out. So the move is losing strength. The momentum in this move is dying down, okay? Volume's rounding out. We've seen dramatic moves to the upside. Bearish divergence in the RSI. We're also seeing bearish candlesticks forming. We're seeing long wick to the upside with very little progress in the candle bodies, which represents a shift in momentum from the bullish strength to bearish strength. So the short term wants to correct, okay? The problem is the short term is being held up by the macro, and the macro right now is this descending wedge formation, which is still managing just barely to hold on to support. This descending wedge formation has not seen a breakout yet, and the reason why it hasn't seen a breakout even though we're above the line is because we haven't seen a weekly candle close above the line. We've only seen a weekly candle open above the line. I don't think that constitutes a breakout, but the reason why Bitcoin is elevated right now, the reason why the price action is still in the air is because the support offered by the descending wedge formation's resistance line is propping Bitcoin upwards. So, here's the thing. It's like, well, what we really need to be watching really is where that line is. That line is at 22K, roughly 22K. So what I'll say right now, I'll go into the shorter term price action. I'll look at the hourly chart. 22K is right here, okay? 22K is this red line over here. Okay, and if we're going to the weekly chart, the daily chart, sorry, this line here is 22K. 22K is a horizontal support and resistance line. We've seen it act as support and resistance over and over again. In fact, I'll make the line pink so you guys can see it. And you can check on the screen right now and look to the left and see how many times this line has acted as support and resistance. It is a vague area of support and resistance that is kind of existed amongst the entire price history of Bitcoin since June 2022. So what we're looking at now is the fact that this 22K support lines up with the support of the wedge formation that we just looked at. Okay, so 22K lines up with the support of the wedge formation. It also is a major support zone of a daily chart. So we can hence make the conclusion based off that if we lose 22K, okay, if we lose 22K on Bitcoin, we would not have just lost 22K as a support zone, we also would have fallen back into the wedge, and hence we would see a major correction from that point. On top of this, if we lose 22K, which is that pink line, we would have also lost these 3 separate yellow uptrending lines on Bitcoin, and also broken down from this hidden bullish divergence on the hourly chart, as well as broken down from potentially the 21 EMA on the daily chart as well. So all of this goes to say, if we lose 22k, we're going to be going down. Where would we be going down to? Well, that question is quite simple to answer as well. Okay, there is a major block of volume, right, throughout this entire range since June that has been formed between 21.1k and 19k flat. Okay, but there's no real actual direct support zone within that major block of volume until 19.5 to 19.8k. 19.8k is the 2017 all-time high on Bitcoin, and 19.5k is a major horizontal support zone from this price region. 19.5 to 19.8k is also backed up heavily by this green indicator that is brought up on the screen here, which is the 200-day SMA, which, by the way, is the indicator that Bitcoin rejected from here in March 2022, which means that this indicator is very, very important. Okay, so what I would say is this, and this is something I've said before, but I'm clarifying here. If Bitcoin is to lose 22k, okay, so I'll backtrace for a second, I'll backtrack. I don't know where Bitcoin's going in the short term, but what I can say is this, okay? If it does lose 22k, we will go down towards 19.5 to 19.8k, and we will find a local bottom there. That would be a healthy retracement, right? If we go down, we lose this line, we drop back within the wedge, right? We see some more consolidation for a couple more months maybe and do something like this, right? In that period of time, we come down and we bottom out at say 19.5 to 19.8k, something like that, and then we come back up later on. That would be healthy, right? That's what I'm looking at if Bitcoin loses 22k, okay? Very simple. Now, what is the upside scenario? Okay, the upside scenario, which I see is slightly less likely, but still possible because, as I said, we're still holding this wedge, okay? So it is possible for sure. And in fact, it's not even unlikely. It's probably just slightly less likely, right? Again, I'm not making any short-term predictions. I'm just making predictions about if this happens, this will happen, because I can't make short-term predictions right now and the short-term TA isn't telling me much, right? It's telling me one thing and nothing's happening. So I can't really make any short-term predictions. Sometimes TA is just unreliable. So right now, what I'm saying is, we lose 22k, we go down to 19.5 to 19.8 minimum. Okay, we could go lower than that, and we could even come down fully and retest the bottom of this wedge, right? In like a month or so, and that would be at like 17.5k or something like that, and that would be completely fine. So long as we hold this 8-year uptrending yellow support line, we're completely fine. But what about the upside scenario, okay? Because we've seen the downside scenario now, we've covered that extensively. What about the upside scenario? Well, if Bitcoin goes upwards, okay, Bitcoin needs to be breaking, okay, 23.8k. That's where it needs to be breaking on the short-term chart because that is the nearest resistance zone. Above 23.8k, there really isn't much stopping Bitcoin from flying straight to 28.6k. And we've looked at what 28.6k is before. Okay, 28.6k on Bitcoin, quite simply put. And as you can see in this line here, it's a major horizontal support zone that we held during the bull market. So obviously, if we get back above it during the bear market, we're breaking out of the bear market. It is the bull market support zone. So again, if we break 23.8k on Bitcoin, we close a weekly candle, say a weekly candle, a couple daily candles above it, and we show serious strength up there. The next real resistance zone above that is the major bull market support zone. If we break that, we're flipping the entire bear market range. We've seen this happen on a couple of occurrences in the past. Look at these red lines. Look what happens when we break above them, okay? We skyrocket, basically. So that is the exact price zone we need to be getting up above in the short term. But realistically, right, realistically speaking, so long as we just close a weekly candle above this wedge, that's pretty damn good as well. So to clarify what I've talked about in this video, it's really quite simple. Let's clarify what I talked about in this video here. Let's go to the daily chart and we'll look into it, okay? What I've talked about in this video, if we break, but I don't know where exactly Bitcoin will go in between 22k and 23.8k. I just simply don't know, right? The short-term TA suggests downwards, but the macro TA has so much momentum, it's very hard to be sure, okay? What I can say is this. If Bitcoin breaks below the pink line at 22k, we will go down to a minimum of 19.8 to 19.5k, right? At this point in time, that's what I can tell you. And if Bitcoin closes a weekly candle above this pink wedge, and more specifically, if Bitcoin breaks above 23.8k, we will most likely be going up further for a retest of 28.6k sometime within the next couple of months, right? That might take a little bit longer because obviously there's a pretty big gap between 23.8k and 28.6k, but that's what the TA suggests at this point in time. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Before we end the video, I've got a couple of things I want to look into, one of which is the Crypto Academy, and then we're going to look briefly into the Bitget Exchange. So the Crypto Academy is a 10-unit course. Well, it's actually a business, but within the business is a Become a Trader 10-unit course developed by myself and Mega Well Crypto, who's another analyst in the space. You might have heard of him. We've worked together quite closely over the past couple of years. And essentially, this course teaches people how to trade. And, you know, it's It's a bit more advanced than some of the other courses you've seen out there. We've done this in a university style format. We've got over like 400 slides. We've got over 80 videos. We've got 8 worksheets and a trading diary. We've gone really all out on this. It takes the average person probably around 40 hours to complete, but you can read more information on this course on the website, and ultimately you can email us here using the email address that I've just highlighted to find out more information in a video format. Also taking a look briefly here at the Bitget Exchange. The Bitget Exchange is the exchange we use with the VIP group. It's the exchange we use on this YouTube channel for Wolves of Crypto. You can sign up to this exchange using my referral link to get access to exclusive rewards and discounts on a monthly basis, and it also supports the channel massively. The reason why I use this exchange is because it has 5 times lower fees than Binance. It's also non-KYC, which means it's decentralized, which means you can trade on this exchange from any country in the world, and if your country is not supported on a regular basis, you can simply use a VPN and be treated just like any other customer. On top of that, the exchange is host to a protection fund, which means if the exchange happens to get hacked, or if you personally happen to get hacked in the exchange, you can make a claim to the protection fund and actually get reimbursed for your funds, which is very, good, because we've seen what happens with exchanges recently. FTX, for example, went down, and that was a big thing. So these guys have gone ahead and put in a protection fund there in case something similar happens. So check out Bitget, sign up using my referral link. I appreciate that. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.